Okay, we are back with another episode of The Buzz. Follow us, Gospel Music Buzz, on all social media platforms. Check out our Spotify playlist and all the things. But today's guest, we are joined today by Stellar Award-winning, Grammy-nominated NAACP Image Award. I mean, this guy's out here just putting in the work, man. Bart Orr,
What's
producer.
going on, man?
Show, Bart, what's happening? How are you?
Man, I can't complain, man. What about yourself?
I'm good, man. I must say though, the coinage of the phrase Barthology, I think that's pretty good, man. Just kind of putting it all together, I think that'll probably be my first question I'm gonna start with. But seeing that we're going into Super Bowl weekend, I already think I know who you're gonna pick, but who are you picking for the Super Bowl?
Man, this time I think I'm gonna have to roll with the Eagles. I really rock with KC though. I rock with Patrick Mahomes. I'm a 49ers fan.
Okay,
just put
okay.
that out there. We beat the Cowboys, so everything cool with me. I don't care who really win, as long as the Cowboys don't win, I'm straight. But yeah, I definitely want to see the Eagles because I got a Jalen Hurts. I'm an Alabama fan, football, so yeah, I'm pulling for him.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I like to say I'm a Giants fan, but I don't get to watch enough games. But seeing that the Eagles always beat us is like part of me. Part of me. Yeah. But I know, but what is so funny is that I'm looking at it because I believe, who is it? Is it the Eagles coach used to coach the 49ers, used to coach the Chiefs, or is it the reverse?
I haven't even checked into that.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, who is it? Yeah, Andy Reid. Yeah, Andy Reid previously coached the Eagles. Yes, yeah. He previously coached the Eagles, and now he's over there, and now his assistant is on the other side. So it's like they both know each other. They both know what to expect. So that's going to be interesting. In it. That should be pretty good. But then for me also too, just seeing, I believe this is the first time that two, black quarterbacks are in the Super Bowl in and of itself. So that's a win all by itself right there, just, from a cultural perspective. So I'm just excited to see a good game. Hopefully it's not nothing crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be in that halftime show. I'm looking forward to that. I got some friends that's gonna be playing on that side. I've heard it's gonna be dope.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and I've been seeing some of the commercials been trickling out. I saw there was a Breaking Bad commercial. There's a bunch of them. But yeah, the halftime show, I think we're all excited to see what that's going to look like too. So awesome, man. Well, today we're here to talk about what's happening with you. And I think, while we were getting ready, I went back and I looked and I saw you're, taking a break from social media so you can focus on what you like doing. So how is that break going for you, and how is that focus going?
Man, it's going so well. I'm trying to force myself to come back or figure out when I'm gonna really come back to it because I don't think people really understand how much social media just takes up like out of your day. Like just it make you focus and then you click on something else. Next thing you know, you've been on there like 20 minutes. It's like, man, I need to be working. So, I just wanted to like release all the distractions at the top of the year. I know that's when a lot of people get inspired, they're ready to work, people call and everything. So I just wanted to be rested, prepared, and ready to get to it.
Nice, bro. Listen, man, if this year is any indication of some of the previous years, and when you hone in with that focus, some really great things are going to be happening this year for sure. But I also love to start off just by asking a question. Like, what is kind of your your origin story within music? Eventually within gospel music in and of itself. But when did you realize like, hey, this is something that I'm really passionate about. This is something that I love doing, producing, songwriting, all of that. Like, when did that click for you?
It really clicked more so later in my life. I've been playing drums my whole life. So I started playing, like I was playing with my grandmother, like 2 years old. We was traveling around the city, and I had my little drum kit going and all that. But I was so deep into sports, like growing up, middle school, high school, like I really wasn't paying music no attention. It was just, all right, we're gonna play drums on Sunday and then get back to working out. But when I got to college, when I blew my back out, I was like, man, what am I about to do with my life here? And so the next thing that I knew that I could do was just play music. So it started off with me just being a drummer, and I started traveling like the Walls Group, Kurt Cards, Cave, and all. And when I started getting the opportunity to play on some of the records, that's when I really realized, like, man, I love this process. Like, I could do this every day. And I just started working on it, by myself, started off doing cover tones and putting that out there. But hear my interpretation of some of the songs that's already been done by some of the greats. And people was like rocking with it. And I just kept pushing at it. So that's kind of how it came about.
It's so funny because I was talking last night to myself and my other co-host for another show. We do the collab. We were talking with Ben Tankard, and Ben was also sharing that he played like one season. He was in the NBA, and then he also blew out his leg and he couldn't play during and then he got dropped. And music was one of the things he was passionate about too, and he kind of fall back into it. So it's one of those things, all things are done, perfectly, by God, and, perfect alignment with how things is happening. So while you wanted to do sports and you were in love with sports, really, this was the path, because clearly with everything else that happened since you started, I think that, is confirmation in it of itself, like, hey, this is the direction that you needed to go in, regardless of if you even saw it at the time, right?
Absolutely, because the beautiful part about it is I really wasn't even listening to gospel music like that. It was basically the music that come from the country, Memphis. So everything that we heard was more so like canned spirituals. We always got these, but I never got to listen to all of that type of stuff. Growing up, playing sports, that's kind of where I had all those R&B songs or rap songs that we would listen to before we get ready for the game, jazz, stuff like that. So I was able to, when I picked up music again, I was already well versed in like the other side of music. So then that's when I started picking up on like all these gospel songs that I probably should have been on, but I didn't. But it just helped me really cultivate my sound that I have now, because it's not too churchy, it's not too world, but it's like just a perfect blend of everything that I've been growing up listening to it.
Yeah, and you definitely feel that in everything, because I think I was mentioning to you before we started, I was listening to the Jonathan Nelson, I believe, remix that you did. So it's like you're taking one thing, you're putting your twist in it, and then at the end of it, it's just this, this beautiful song that you're hearing, and you're interpreting it through, your creative lens as well too. So I believe, a lot of people can definitely vibe with that. They can connect with that, because it's pulling from both sides.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely grateful for that, because it, like, what I'm being intentional about as I do that, like, people are starting to hear it. Like, I would have like waterfalls and birds going around like at the top, and it just to give people just a different setting. We get so used to feeling like the only way we can listen to church music is in church, and we in a streaming world, and especially with the pandemic happening, it really put me in a place where, like, all right, I'm waking up in the morning, I want to feel some good church music, but I don't want to hear the screaming just yet, but let me get some Starbucks praise and worship music. So I just been trying to have something that people can work out to, clean up to, or just vibe throughout the day. Sometimes you just want to hear the message. You don't want to hear all of the other be in church, because you got to go somewhere else and stuff like that. So I try to just keep the fact that we do have everyday lives outside of Sunday when I produce.
No, and I think that's definitely a great perspective to have, because that's why I love speaking with with creators, whether it's musicians, songwriters, producers, such as yourself, because you're in a very unique position that you're able to just craft different narratives outside of what everyone may be used to, right? Because if everyone is used to one thing, then you take a chance and you do something, in the beginning, some may like it, some may not like it, but in the end, it's just like you're still introducing newness in the space itself that others can gravitate to. And then eventually, I'm sure, when everyone first started here with Kurt Franklin and, talking and having someone repeating what he's saying and everything else, at first they're probably like, what is this, right? But then now it's like he's one of those individuals that you've kind of grown to expect that from him. So definitely, keep pushing the envelope, creatively, and doing that process for sure. But with even with that, like, how do you typically approach your creative process when you're, someone reaches out to you like, hey, I want you to, produce this song. I want you to be a part of this album. And they're, kind of still feeling it out, not quite sure what is the song they're looking for, but they're just telling you what they're feeling. You get this information, you get off the call. What is like the next thing that you're doing in your creative process?
Well, right before I get off the call, I ask them, I'll be like, where do you see yourself singing it at? Like, if you could sing this world, if it's like, this is the end all be all, think music video, whatever. Man, I've had people say like, oh, I'm on the stage at Carnegie Hall, long dress, and it's an orchestra. Okay, gotcha. I know exactly how I need to make that feel. Or, we're doing praise and worship at this outside festival in South Africa. Wind is blowing, the sun is shining, it's all these people. I'm like, gotcha. I know exactly what I need to feel like. So basically what I try to do, if I can see it, I can hear it. And I know that kind of sounds a little backwards because most times when you hear something, that's what directs your attention to get there. But since I'm having to put sound with vision, I need to see the vision first before I can add the sound. That way the sound makes sense to the vision, because I'm heavy in like producing film or just studying like the type of music that they use as they promote something or the movie, that message with your emotions and everything. It's like, how does it make you feel? And you can literally see somebody walking real slow, like down the hallway, and based on how the music is, it's as if something's bad about to happen or they feel great about their day. You never know, but the video shot is still, they're just walking down. So I like to get all of that in. That way I can know how I need to make the music feel. That way it can translate with whatever it is that they're doing.
Oh. Has it been a situation where, because I've spoken to some artists before and they're like, hey, someone, had a few stuff that they've already created before and they just send them a bunch and say, hey, pick something from here and, we'll kind of build on this. But it seems like what you're saying is that you're speaking to them, they're giving you, the vision, what they're looking for, and you're just going back to the table and just creating and building off of that.
Absolutely. Like, from start to finish. So like, just even on the intro, like, do you want to talk, in your intro, you want to interlude, this could be a section where you minister, throw a scripture in here. Cause you have to like really see everything all the way through, like so sometimes artists, they know what they want, but they don't know how they want to present it. And I think that's my job, to really help them. Like, hey, how you want to present this? Like, well, I want this to be a studio version, so I'm going to do a live version later. I'm like, well, if you're doing studio, you got to think people riding in the car. Naturally, these days, that's an 808 bass instead of like a real bass. Then when you do it live, we can do the real. So it's just like small little textures right there. Like thinking, if you go on a studio record, people really going to be bumping this in the car. So we need to cater this towards like the car instead of like church. So, it goes hand in hand, and it's been working out, I guess. But
Not like that.
That's the method, though. Yeah.
Got you. And you've done stuff with some of the greats in gospel industry, outside of the industry. You've done a lot. From working with Pamela Mann to several others that Jacqueline Carr with that Grammy nomination and so forth. Like, going into each of those sessions, like, what are some of the things that, for someone that may now starting off in production and, that you've done a bunch of these so far, that that has been, okay, once I came out of there, this is a little nugget that I'm definitely going to add to my next process. I've came out of this session, I learned something here. This is a nugget I'm going to add to my process. Like, what are, one or two of those things that you've learned when even, working with some of these main industry artists?
Well, one thing is not being afraid to speak up, because, I mean, how would they know you have a great idea if you don't, express it? And of course, you got to know your boundaries based on who's producer or anything like that. It's, if somebody asks you, like, kind of like what you think, and I know we get to talking about, make sure I get my royalties, get my credit and all that. But I mean, honestly, when you really starting out, you really trying to feel your way through, it's best to get that business side out the way on the front end. And then once you understand, sometimes you gotta take a couple, just take an opportunity. I haven't gotten paid for every little idea I came up with. I haven't gotten credit for everything that I've done, but those learning experiences have helped grow me into, number one, when it's my time, I understand what I'm gonna do. Number two, when it's a young guy coming up under me, I'm the one that'll give you your credit. Make sure, just for it's because I can be a teacher in the moment. Like any little mistakes that I made, I make sure the people coming behind me don't make it. And then on top of that, the funny thing about this Timberland Man record is I never had to like actually be in the studio with her.
Really?
The crazy part about it is, shout out to my guy Phil Bryant. We was in where was we at? We was somewhere in DC, I think. And he was like, yo, we need to, let's get a writing session in. And I just came in and just did that off the fly. And the crazy part about it is when you write and making music, you never know who it's gonna go to or who it's gonna be. Every time opportunity, you gotta like treat it like it's the biggest session ever. Like I don't care if we in a garage, a basement, or top-notch studios, millions of dollars of equipment. I'm in session mode, like, all right, we in session. Let's make a hit. And I've always just kept that, at the forefront of my mind because you never know which song is going to take off. I've done songs in the biggest studios, and ain't nobody heard of. And then I've done songs in my bedroom, and that's kind of like, that's the biggest one I got. So it's a learning curve because we get so hyped over the lights, cameras, and actions, not understanding that some of the greatest music is made like in your backyard or somewhere. And just having that same enthusiasm wherever you at, that always helps the energy grow, and the artists, they want to feel they can feel the excitement and passion and music that's coming. So just always being excited, not being afraid to just throw an idea out there. And if they throw it back to you, hey, just put it in your back pocket and save it a couple of years, and it's gonna come out. I promise you. Like everything always goes full circle, so it works itself out.
That's 100% true for sure. I've seen a lot of full circle moments even in my own life. So definitely, I think that's important what you said about not being afraid to speak up when asked, or if you feel like you have an idea and you think something is going in a direction, even though that person may be, so far out there and they've done so much before. But if you feel like you know what you're saying, it's a reason why you're there, right? So it's an opportunity.
Yeah, because believe it or not, the greatest of the greatest always looking to learn. And so when you get around like those big time people and you kind of get like timid, they like, all right, I thought y'all brought somebody that's on my level in today.
Yeah.
Like, if you reach that level, you around those type of people, you're considered to be on that level as well. Whether you are interning, whether you got the job, whether you just try to see if there's something you want to do, clearly there's something about you that was great enough inside of you to get you into that room. So you got to seize that moment. There's no time to be timid. There's no time to not be confident. You got to come in like, yeah. So what we doing? Let's get this job done and let's get on to the next project.
No, I love that. Hey, speaking about projects, right? So I believe it was 2022, right? Top of the year, you released your instrumental project, No Fear. Now you've done so much with others, but how much more important and personal it was for you when you decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to release, this project here. I'm going to put my stamp on it. This is something that I'm passionate about, and it's going to be instrumental. Because I'm sure if you wanted to, you could have brought in tons of others to sing on it, but you wanted to express yourself creatively in this light. Like, what was that thought process like going into that?
Going into it, and it was like the start of making a dream come true, because ultimately I would just love to be able to just walk into a stadium and play the piano and then, you got thousands there. And cause I've been a part of that to where, you have these great musicians and then they have their bands coming in. You just sit there and you just listen to great music. And I know how many people, all types of people all over the world love just listening to music. So, growing up in church and gospel, we often forget about that side of things. Like, hey, I could actually just do like a little cafe situation or whatever. Of course, I'm still working on like trying to get out there and making an event all about me and everybody come out and play or listen or whatever rather. But as far as the album was concerned, it was a good way to just see how people would respond to just my music. And as I was saying previous, like a lot of those songs were songs that never got picked up, or songs that people be like, man, I love this track, but I don't know if I can sing to it. I don't know if I can write to it. And it was, instead of being discouraged, like I have one of my great friends, Larry, he was like, man, it's really God with showing that you had your own sound. Like you're an artist within your sound. You've been that for years. We've been on road with Kirk. Man, you gotta, put your own stuff out. Like your music is tight. Like, I don't know. So it really made me just erase that fear. And shout out to Jonathan Anderson, who really pushed me from Anderson Music Group. He really pushed me to like get that out there. It was just like, man, you fearless out here. So it's okay. Like they gonna respond to it. And man, the response has been like crazy. I can't believe it. So yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to just, get that off my back and start this process of like me as an artist, but outside of everything I do for everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's that in and of itself too is it's important, right? So you don't just lock yourself into thinking you're just one thing. I'm just a writer. I'm just a producer. I'm just this. Like, we have so much within us that we have to get out, right? So once we're feeling that we want to express ourselves one way, we're gonna have to go for that instead of just thinking, what if I do this? What if I were to fail at this? Or what if I don't? Then you move on to the next thing. So when I saw it, now I'm going through it and I'm listening to it back again. Because remember when it first got released and I'm going back through it and listening again, it's really some really good stuff that's in here. Because it's like you're putting yourself in the mind. You're like, hey, if I'm in the airport, if I'm in this place, if in between something, if you're looking at the Super Bowl, you're at a basketball game or something, but it's just so many different ways that you're already thinking that this particular song, these instrumentals can just all be intertwined in between so much other things. So definitely having a sampling such as this out there that others can go and say, hey, I like what you did with this. How can we do XYZ off of that? So that was definitely a good approach and a push to go ahead and just go forward with that for sure.
I appreciate it.
Now, what I was thinking about, just even from like collaborating or identifying who you want to collaborate with. I know there's the one side whereby, you get called in for a job, someone hired you and so forth. But have you sat down to say, hey, this year going into it, these are like the 3 individuals or maybe the 4 that ideally I would like to collaborate with or I would like to do something with? Like, have you gone through that process? And who would, 2 of those individuals be if you were to call a name to say, hey, I want to do something with this person?
Great question. Great question. Right now, as far as gospel is concerned, anybody in gospel, honestly, anybody in gospel, simply because I know the way that my sound is. Like I can only imagine like if I linked up and me and Anthony Brown wrote something together, or Vashawn Mitchell. But the thing is, like if you get me and Anthony Brown in the room, I'm like, all right, bro, let's think Tyler Perry. Let's think, movies. Like, let's really get there. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you're saying.
Let's go a whole nother route. And then I'm like, all right, we can get Jason and Jonathan to sing this, right? And then we can come right back and then, like I'm all about like this big grand scheme of things. Another matter of fact, who I was just talking to that about, Cornell Gaskell, one of the greatest pianos like this world has ever seen. Like I have this thing. I just really want to like bring everybody in this big melting pot and just create something that still worships and edifies God, but it's like a holistic view and sound of just music, like just what it is, just the notes, the beautiful instruments that's created, and how all of that can come together. Because what did we say to? Like, shout out to Nicole Neely. She's Strings Chick on Instagram. One of the greatest composer, violin and string players that you would find. But like my daughter growing up right now, she's in violin lesson. I have to like show her like, hey, you see, Miss Nicole, she worked with Dad. See, you could be doing this, and it's like, to really add that limelight on the behind the scene people, like to show all the keys. You don't have to be the drummer. You don't have to be going on the mic. You could be the audio engineer. There's so much that comes into it. So even when you ask those type of questions, it's like, well, what mix engineers would you want to work with, or certain musicians out there? There's so many calculations I got stored up in my head. So usually by the time somebody gets to me, I'm like, yeah, I already got something to play. But somebody that I hadn't even thought of, and I didn't even recognize them until later on. But Dante Bowe is like somebody, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
it's good.
The problem. It's the problem.
Yeah, I know that would be like mad different. So, and I've been trying to get into this other space. Everybody knows me for like quartet and this, but all that's what I do. But the other side to things, I do love that worship pop feel and all that, just adding all those different elements. So yeah, if I had to just throw one off the top of the dome, I think that's the last person I said. Like I told Mike the other day, I was like, yo, I need to work with Dante. I'm gonna figure that out one day.
Yeah, no, that's so funny because now he's, he just rebuilt his team now, and he got True Music, the new label that they started, all that within this year. The new label has started that he released his new single on there while he's working, to release a new album, Press Play. So that's, hey, I'm sure with the new label, man, it's gonna be a lot of opportunity.
Everything comes full circle,
full circle for sure. That's funny. And we were talking, I was thinking back just now too, but for someone in your space as well, just trying to, stay on top of like, what's trending in the industry, from technologies to, just what's heading in the direction that you need to understand. Like, how do you stay on top of all of that? Like, I'm assuming it's a mixture of probably, going to, shows, going to, like vendor events and certain things like that. But kind of how do you fuel what's really trending and what's, what you need to, understand just from a technology or an overall perspective?
From a really, it's the exact opposite. My kids, they literally level out everything. One conversation with my kids is the easiest way for me to be like, now, what's that you talking about? My son's only 9, my daughter's 7. And I just had my baby boy, he's 7 months now. Yeah, man, I love being a father. It's like the best thing because they, that's the only time you don't really see me out giddy and lovey-dovey all that. But now my kids, especially like the TikTok wave and all that, a lot of my melodies I test on my kids because that's how I really started playing piano. I used to play to put them to sleep. So what I do is I kind of like see what makes them excited and kind of like what they watch, and then I kind of just go on my own little journey from there, kind of what's happening. Because I make it my mission not to like really try to listen to music, more so let music come to me. And it's like, if it gets to me, it's like that. You need to check this out because it's so easy to sound like somebody. It's so easy to just get, like, yo, I read like this. Oh, repeat. Next thing you know, it's like sound like, yeah. And so fact. So and since I do this, I can't. It's kind of like I play for. It's like playing for the Lakers, but it's like, man, I watch the Clippers every night. You gotta stay on focusing your team. So I'll always on my craft and my own sound. But anytime something comes to me, people are like, man, you need to check this out. I always, I listen and I take the little things that I came from, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see where everything's going these days, and that's kind of like.
No, I got you on that, and I think that's all that too. Goes back to the top of when we first started with that break that you're taking, right? So you just going in at that, locking in on that focus.
Absolutely.
I'm with you, man. I will see. So once all this greatness start releasing after this period, I'm gonna be like, I remember that break period.
Absolutely.
I was there. I saw that break. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's happening full circle.
Also, too, in 2022, I believe towards the maybe middle ending of the year, you collaborated with 2 partners, and you guys started Magic Music Entertainment.
Right.
So what was kind of the, again, I know there's the producer side, the songwriter and all of that, but now kind of saying, hey, I've been doing this for a while. I'm going to now, take this next step in the journey now to start this entertainment company. And these are some of the visions and so forth that we've kind of lay out, short term, long term. Like, what are some of that what kind of led up to that place?
So it was more so kind of like what you was asking earlier, just about doing my own thing and how I, start that. So being able to produce like my way and the way that I start my process, it's kind of like how I would do like a movie or TV thing situation as well. And that's kind of like the end goal for me as far as like music is concerned. Like I want to be able to, do films and work with some of the best film producers and all that. So music entertainment really is kind of like, that's like towards the end, but if you scale it all the way back, I linked up with Mike Gordon and Mike. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. Mike is doing a lot of things, man. I just saw Mike up at Albany. Like he's in Albany with Al Sharpton and everyone that messaged him. I'm like, dude, where are you not?
Yo, he be everywhere. I'm like, I don't even know. It is funny because I met Mike a couple of years ago, like at Stella's, and he was like, he saw me, he was like, man, you feel like using me all. He just came up to me, he was like, yo, we gonna work together one day. I was like, all right, bet, cool. Kind of just went on my way. Years later, here we are. And so I was just telling them about this idea I've been having, just to be able to be a music hub that can actually just do any genre of music as far as like production is concerned. So now when you add the vocalist side to, that's where on Instagram, many melodies, but many more. And she's like the vocal side of the situation. But you can take a song and remix it a million different ways. She know how to sound like anybody. So I'm like, hey, if we really collab, we can just easily write, produce people, stay behind the scenes, whatever people may need, we'll go from there. So we start there. Then Mike's like, yo, we're gonna bring Terrence in. It's like, all right, Terrence does what Terrence Charles, shout out to him. They know what they're doing on the business side. We got this music side, and it's like, all right, let's take it and run with it. So then from there, all of our friends and everybody else that, we know it's been easy to like collab and, just be like, hey, what is it you looking for? We offer this, we can do whatever. So I hit up my guy, Damian Brown. I was just telling him about the whole situation. And I was saying, he's like, yo, that's crazy because I need a vocal producer. And that's another thing. Like people don't be really like when you think about music, I'm never thinking about like, all right, man, I'm coming up to kill these keys, man. I'm out. Like, it's like, man, he's bass straight and vocals cool, like all that. And being able to, I was the music director at my church for like 20 plus years. I've been able to work with like some great choir directors, Martin Butler, just like all those vocal.
Yeah.
Hearing it, not that I studied it to just grab it, but just knowing what I probably be looking for so I can find the other side. So I can literally keep focusing on music. Somebody can focus on vocals and all that. So I was telling him about it. Next thing you know, we did a single for Twinkie Clark that's dropping pretty soon that I produced with him.
Ooh, okay.
Right. Yeah, so like that was like the way that we tested it out, which was a great test.
I mean, if you're gonna test it,
I don't know how you can start out like that, but yeah. So it's like, and just working with versatile people, like then it's like I get to meet all the singers and people that she know, and she works with Disney, all this other stuff. Everybody and Mike knows that it's just that big pot that I've been talking about. It's like that's how I'm in Frankie, like just reaching out, just network, not being afraid to say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I know we can make this work. I know we gotta just stick together.
Yeah,
plan stuff out, keep meeting, making sure everything's happening, and even in that process. We was able to, somebody saw what Mangy was doing, invest into her. So she has an album on the whole R&B side that she's getting ready to drop. So it's like everything just started to like just come together, and God was just working everything out. So that's Magic Music Entertainment. So we moving on the radar for real, because we're just getting started. But I mean, people know what's up. They know that we can do what we say we can do, and if they just give us a shot, man, it's gonna be awesome.
Listen, man, when I saw that, and another thing, when I saw it and I hit mic, I'm like, dude, what am I watching right here? Like, oh, like,
Oh,
it's like,
shout out to Blair, like Blair Monique.
yeah,
Anytime,
yeah, BMO,
graphic
BMO the time, yeah, but for sure, yeah, I was just commenting on something with Blair online. I'm like, Blair, you stay with the fire, like,
like,
shout out, shout,
and
all
you
the
gotta
time.
know those type of people, man. Like you have to, like, and you can have the greatest talent in the world, but the image is not there. You know, everything must be
Mhm.
lined up. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to know these people, I have good relationships with them, so we can still just get the ball rolling and have all of these moments where even when you talk about me, I cannot not talk about all the people around me that helped me be me. So I'm grateful that I get to, you know, just have regular conversations, still shout out all my friends and family that's helped me out during this process because I can't do any of it without them at all.
But I think too, part of that is, everyone has to understand, like, it's not competition, right? It's kingdom building. And then once we get into that mindset, like, I'm not competing with the next person. Like, if I'm doing something and I'm speaking with an artist, another artist says to me, hey, I would love to get XYZ exposure. I'm going to go look and see. And if there's another platform that looking to have what they want, I'm not going to try to keep them to myself. I'm going to say, hey, let me connect you with this person. Let me connect you with that next person, because in the end, you're serving, it's kingdom building, and you want to see everyone win. And I feel like for the last few years, when we've seen a lot of collaboration
Oh yeah.
together within the space, and we've seen a lot of that. Like, look what some of the collaborations have done. Even like the management team behind Maverick City and the management team behind a lot of different ones. Like, you saw what happened with the Grammys. We were talking about the Grammys earlier, and
Right.
just certain things. Like, it's just, coming together and collaborating is definitely, the approach to go to, because no one person can get across that finishing line all by themselves. So definitely shout out
Yeah.
to you guys, Magic Music Entertainment. Definitely I'm gonna be locked in. I already told Mike, I'm like, this is where you guys are dropping stuff, make sure you hit me with it before, let me get that 4 or 5 hour lead on my
Yeah,
on the industry buzz. We got to keep the buzz fresh, man. See, we gotta keep it fresh, yeah. So, you gotta let us know, man.
absolutely.
But nah, listen, man. Bart, I appreciate you coming in, man. Talking with me, with everything else that you got going on, even in between, everything else that you got working with. I appreciate you coming through. Definitely want to keep the conversation going, as you're doing more stuff, as you guys are continue to, roll out and keep adding to the team and so forth. Definitely want to have you come back, want to have us continue this conversation, because I feel like it's important to see different sides of the equation, not just from, once something is released, or from the singer, or from all the other side, but there's so much, like you were saying just now, so much others that's just involved with that final product and with that final, that final outcome. But also there's just so much more other things you can do in place. You don't have to be that person up front, but there's so much more you can do in the process. So again, thanks for highlighting a lot of that and for just coming on. Now, if there's anything else, that you want to drop that, may be happening this year, or how can people connect with you? I mean, I know you haven't made certain announcement that you don't have to right now, but, I've been hearing some things, I'm going to give you an opportunity. No problem.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything now, but
I don't know. Yeah, we did. We have found out in the past couple of days that we're gonna be getting a BMI award this year. Yeah, shout out to the financial part.
congratulations. Congratulations. That's
Very
exciting.
excited, bro.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't, man. I'm telling you, the type of year I've had, I cannot. I think once I got that information, I called Mike. I said, Mike, I need a moment right now. He's like, dude, I've been trying to tell you like this whole time to take back and just look at everything that God really been doing, because he's really been blessing me, man. And I'm really grateful, but I'm also excited because there's so much, so much happening. I'm definitely releasing some more music. I want to shout out my brother. Everybody know him for the alarm clocks, my church band. And recently we lost our drummer, my Les Flowers II. So I just wanted to shout him out. And we actually did a project that I'm working on getting everything finished out. But I'm gonna be releasing that with my brothers in honor of him. And yeah, so I just wanted to shout him out because I know like our church band was real heavy last year, and especially through the pandemic. And shout out to all those guys and everything. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out my brother real quick, knowing that it's probably my first time really just being out since that happened. I know a lot of people reached out to me, checking up on me, but we pressing forward. That's what he want us to do, and I'm just happy that everything's happening. I'm glad that everybody's happy, and everything's moving. And appreciate you too, media man. Y'all matter. We gotta give y'all more credit around here.
Yeah. No. No, appreciate you. And definitely when y'all drop that, definitely let me know. I'm sure Mike and the team is gonna look back around. We can, share it. We can talk about it as well too on our side of things. But no, man, I wanted to, make sure, I squeezed that last bit out of you when I heard. I was like, man, that's why I'm freestyling, bro. I'm gonna have to see if you watch to say something, but nah, congratulations, man. That's great, man. Hard work to you and the team for sure, man. So let me know where can people kind of, find you once once you're back on the socials. Where can people find you? Where can they tap in? Just everything, Bart, everything, Magic Music Entertainment. Like, how can they stay on top of what's happening?
Yeah, so on IG it's Bart_Orr and Magic Music Entertainment. And then my website is officialbartorr.com. And from there you can figure out. And then just call Mike. That's what I'm gonna say. Call Mike.
Call Mike. Just like you better call Saul, you better call Mike. Call Mike.
Hey man, I look like better call Saul or something. I'll work it.
That's funny, but nah, listen, man. Thanks again so much, for popping on and for chatting with us today, man. Enjoy. Have a good one.
All right, you too, man. All
right, cool.
What's up, everybody? This is Bart Orr, and you're watching Gospel Music Buzz.